this is history in the making. This is the very first episode.
Period. First of all, it's history because we hearing your voice for the first time.
Not a lot of people know what I look like, let alone heard my voice, unless they're working with me or you know me my whole life. So
I didn't even know you had words. Where is coming from?
Nah, I got plenty of words. I always have a lot to say, but I don't know. I just grew up like very just, reserved, very shy. People always make fun of like the way I talk, the way I walk, all that. Like I'm Ja Rule and shit. Like,
and here you are starting a podcast. Why is that?
Well, I knew like I said, I knew I had a voice. And I always wanted to like share with people, but I didn't know how. I've been listening to podcasts for like years. Like I love the radio. I remember listening to Steve Harvey shit in the morning, every single morning. I even listened to some stuff from New York that I really, really loved. And I was like, man, I would love to get into this. I just never knew how. So, and I love to talk. I love to talk to people. I love to just make conversation. I love to go back and forth and debate sometimes. So I was like, man, so how can I do this? And I just always wanted to make a podcast, and this is like the best way to do it. So I was like, let me just go for it, because really, I'm just winging it, I'm really just winging this right now. And, yeah, sometimes I just go for it, I just want an outlet to where I can really, like, lift my voice and, like, really let people hear me, Oh. And this is just one of the best ways I think you could do it.
I am so proud of you, too.
I appreciate that.
And I'm proud that you got me to be the first guest. So
I had to pick you because, number one, you're the voice of the street.
Period.
Two, I want you to come back here way more often because I know you got a lot to say as well.
Yeah.
So it's just you were like the perfect first guest. So, and you got a lot going on right now, too.
I really do.
And I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. So, man, I just want to get into it. First of all, introduce yourself for the people that don't know who this is.
Well, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Vicki Street, the rap goddess from the Shy, a.k.a. the voice of the streets. Many people know me as that. They've been calling me that since college. That's how I branded myself, because my last name really is Streets, and I majored in broadcast, TV, and radio. So I'm just known as that round-the-way girl with a lot of charisma.
I love to hear it. You love to see it. You love to see it. You love to hear it. So, get into it first. I want to know a little more about your background. Like, of course, we met at Columbia College. I kind of want to know a little more about where you came from, like high school, like where you grew up at. Like, tell me a little more about that.
For sure. So, I have such a story and a background that I really don't talk about a lot, and it's probably because I don't see it a lot, especially like being from Chicago. Like, folks make you feel like if your zip code didn't say 60604 694, like you not from here. Like, we all didn't grow up eating Italian beefs, and like we ain't got grandmas who stay in the hood, like
exactly.
So I am from a lot of different South suburbs. Like, I don't really hear a lot of people repping anything in the burbs, and I ain't even talking about them people who be like Murder Madsen and Harvey World. Like, I just don't really see my story a lot being unfolded about the burbs. Like, I done been through a whole lot that you would have thought was some stories of somebody that was in the hood, but it all happened in the burbs. And so, I've moved over 10 times with my family, and at least 4 times without them, just on some collegiate stuff. It wasn't always the most happiest times necessarily. Like, we done went through all types of things financially, and, that has definitely taught me a lot. Like, going through financially, but then living in the suburbs is like such a warped mind, because it provides this like sense to people that everything is okay. And you wanted to know about my background. Well, most of my background is in the church. So a lot of people who do know me, like especially before college, they know like I'm a church girl. My parents are pastors. And so I grew up going to church like 5 days a week. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, I couldn't wait till I got to college so I could stop going to church so much.
Yeah, I couldn't do 5 days a week. That's over with.
It's like
how many? Do every Sunday either.
How many revivals are we having?
Exactly.
So, it's that, and then I'm definitely not the typical type of church girl. So, sometimes we may have church folks that have tried to side-eye me because I like to dance, and I'm the one hosting the party, and I'm the one in the party talking about turn up on the mic, but then I'm at church the next day. So, it's a little bit of that, but I come from a very non-denominational type of family in church as well, and a non-traditional type of family too. So while we may be church going folks, Bible toting folks, it's like still don't cross the streets type of vibe. So it's a lot going on as far as how I was raised in my upbringing, but it's just like it would be nice to have seen while I was growing up that, you can be somebody who loves the Lord, but also somebody who, after you can be somebody who loves the Lord, who holds a 9 to 5, but also attends the club on an occasional basis as well. But you can also live in a $250,000 home, but still be scraping quarters from under the couch trying to figure out how you gonna eat. So I have all of that within me, and like if you were to ask me what is a message that you would like bring to hip hop, like, or in your music, or just like your everyday, like I would just be somebody who proudly reps where I'm from and don't try to be like everybody else. Like, it's folks out here for real from the burbs claiming to be from the block. Like, you ain't got to do that. You cool enough just where you are. And I just feel like if we had more of that representation, we would have more people being themselves. But I'm gonna cut it right there because I feel like we gonna loop back into this later on in the convo, because
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we definitely are, because I'm sitting over here now thinking about all the rappers who came from the burbs.
Nah, we not gonna put anybody out there because I know people.
We all know who it is.
I know. I've seen a certain somebody at my school that said that they were from over there, and I was like, yeah, no, I know where you were from. I had foods class with you. But.
No, but I just had to say that though, because I have had some struggling times coming up, but folks really thought we was rich just because we were pastors and we lived in the burbs. Like, no, the way my sister be whipping up them noodles, you would have thought.
Man. You ever had a ramen noodle sandwich?
Yes, I've had every type of sandwich. Like, matter of fact, I've had a nothing on the sandwich.
Exactly.
My daddy be talking about how you just soak up and sop the bread and ball it up and then eat it that way. Like, that's them type of sandwiches we didn't have to eat.
Y'all ever heard of a struggle meal like that before?
Yes.
Man, I done had some shit, but that is, wow. And I would never thought.
Shout out to my mama, because she gonna watch us like, don't be telling the people we was struggling.
We all struggled. You ain't never like known how good a come up is until you struggle.
But you know what? That's why at this grown big age, like, I'm just starting to like be more vocal about things in the past and just kind of like let it out, because at this point, it would just be so nice to know that you're not the only one going through some stuff, and we all people and we all go through. And I just feel like if we start having more open conversations about this, we could really change the world and help some folks out.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one thing about you and me is like, we kind of come from the same world. Like, we both from the burbs, I mean, I went back and forth, like, some summers I'll stay with my father, but most of the time I'll be out in the burbs going to school and everything. And it's like, I know the world's like back and forth. I know how it is. I love me. Like, I know where the best heralds in the cities is. I know the places to go, not to go. Like, I know the right people to hang out with and all that. I know both worlds of the burbs and the city, and it doesn't differentiate, like how much I love Chicago.
Right.
So that's interesting. And yeah, the church stuff is interesting too. Like, see, my family was never, okay, look, my mom's side of the family, church every Sunday. Mm-hmm. No excuse. Church every Sunday. Even like when I was in LA, my grandparents, church every single Sunday. Sometimes I'll go to the church here every Sunday with my mother, and there's reasons why I don't go to church now. I love the Lord and everything, but it's just there's reasons why I don't go to church now. So
no, church hurt is real.
I know. I feel like I can just get in touch with God like at the crib. You remember what Chris Rock said in his stand up? Like, people that don't go to church believe in Jesus, but people that do go to church really don't believe in Jesus.
They be seeing too much stuff.
That makes so much sense now that I'm older. It's crazy. But nah, good stuff. So I want to fast forward now to Columbia.
Okay.
Now, do you know, there's one thing I wanted to talk to you about. Do you remember how we first met?
No, I knew you was going to try to bring up a reminisce session.
I remember the very first day that I met you, and it was funny as hell.
Oh, Lord.
So it was funny to me. It may not have been funny to you.
Okay, what happened?
Okay, so you well aware that I was a party promoter, right?
Yes.
I was in Primo, Shout, Main Trio, E-Man, Doc, Miles, everybody, the whole team. So we were outside the UC. Now, this is when we were, like, working heavy with Spenzo. Mm-hmm. Shout out Spenzo. He was doing some type of, like, meet and greet outside of the UC. Do you remember this?
Yep. But I don't remember where you came in at.
Somebody told me to ask you a question about something. I don't remember what the question was. So I had never met you before. So I was just being told, like, ask Vicki Street this and that, and then let me know. So I walked up to you, asked you this question. You gave me this look like, who the fuck is this nigga talking to me?
Oh, Lord.
You just had the most disgusted look. I'm like, is there something on my face? Like, did she not like me?
No.
Like, what's going on? I'm just like, I asked you the question.
What did you ask me?
I don't remember.
See, you need to remember that. Because I don't be looking at people like that.
No, but you looked at me before I even asked you the question.
I'm crying.
Before I even asked you the question. It's like, you gave me, like, the look of, like, a mobster when, like, somebody just touched them. Like, did you just touch me? Like, and I don't even think I touched you. I think I just got your attention, and you just gave me this look. I was like, damn, like, is my
Byrd,
vibe
that's a
off?
horrible first impression story.
I know, it's terrible. I'm just like giving you like just how I first met you. Now the second time I talked to you, it was like that never happened. I remember
we need to know what question you asked me. Or what mood was I in? Because I know I probably was in between classes at that moment and was probably in my zone. But
probably.
You know what? Retroactively, I'd like to apologize for how I looked at you. I really don't be looking at you like that. I don't hold grudges. Thank you so much. Yeah. But go ahead. What was the second encounter?
Now, the second time, I think that it was, I don't know. Like, we were in, what's the building across the street from Harold's?
623.
623. I don't remember these damn buildings. It's so crazy. But yeah, 623. You know, like the room where they had like all the shows with the stage and everything.
Yeah, the house.
Yeah, the house. So I think that was the day where Yo Gotti came. I believe so. And then I remember I properly introduced myself to you, and we introduced ourselves to each other, and we just had a pleasant conversation after that, and then the rest was history after that. It was just that very first instance, I'm like, oh, boy, did I do something wrong here?
Wow.
Like,
you know what? I don't know what was going on.
Probably just a bad day.
Maybe. Forgive me. Because it could have been that. Because when I'm irritated and somebody asks me a question, I immediately turn around, what?
That's probably what it was. That's probably
and then you already tall. I'm, what? Mm-hmm. Like...
Yep. That's probably what it was. You know, I mean, it's college. We all had our bad days in college. You know,
that was cool.
I remember I was leaving class and everything, and this is when I think I first got into Primo. You know, for those of you who don't know, for those of you that know me,
that was a moment in time.
Yeah, for those of you that know me as Byrd, that's where I got my name from. I got my name from Main Trio. He's the one that called me Byrd. I don't know why. I'm getting him on the show one day. I'm gonna ask him, like, why did you call me Byrd? I want to know why. That's like the biggest mystery. That's why people say, like, why do they call you Byrd? I'd be like, ask Main Trio. But that's another story. So, get into the next topic. So Columbia. Why did you choose Columbia for the place to go to school?
Well, you know what? I actually was gonna choose a HBCU.
Oh, Lord, my mom wanted me to go to Morehouse so bad.
See, I was looking at, like, Clark, Atlanta. I was going to choose somewhere hella black because back in, like, 2006, I was watching hella ATL. Like, that's my favorite movie right there. So I was like, I need to go somewhere for the South. And then I've also been playing saxophone since 5th grade. So I just figured I'd get a full ride, which I ended up turning down because after going to such a blickety black-ass high school, Shout out to Rich South. I just felt like I needed some diversity. And so my Uncle Johnny encouraged me to go look in my own backyard before I try to go venture somewhere else. So I just went on the internet, typed in like cool colleges. I think I typed in TV or radio because at the time in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just wanted a major that would surround me in culture and around cool like black stuff, something that would allow me to be myself. So then I realized it's called being a personality. So that's where, the journalism thing came into play. So when I Googled it, Columbia came right up, and I just liked the way they was talking to me on the internet. And then I got my first booklet in the mail when I was 12, and I still have it now. So I've been like a super fan of the school ever since then. And I just like how free the school was. Like I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but like they was having something called the Hell Yeah Convocation.
Oh, of course I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like on that big day, everybody would come to the park and be like, "Will you live what you love? Hell yeah." And I remember they had the Hell Yeah speech at the parent orientation. I looked over at my parents like, could I say it? But I sure said hell yeah that day. So
man, we grown, we in college, we say what the fuck we
okay want. So I just like that the school literally celebrated you for your differences and who you were. So it was cool to just like, being someone from the burbs, a place where you definitely need a car to go everywhere. It just was so cool to be able to walk out my building, see these tall, huge skyscrapers, not have a curfew, not have, a helicopter parent, and reinvent myself. And so I started, exploring everything like dress wise during that time. Like, if anybody knows me from that time, I always was wearing like the snapbacks and the sneakers and like some colorful thrifted outfit because that was just the vibe and the culture of the school. So, I just feel like 2012 through 14 was like such a time to be alive, especially for Chicagoans, because like that's when Chance was dropping mixtapes and stuff like that. And I just was like, I got really into being a music journalist at the time. It's almost like I had to find my degree path and major, and so I just blended my love for music with what I wanted to do, academically, and that's where the whole like music journalism thing came into play. So that's why I chose Columbia.
That's almost the reason why I chose it. Like just I wanted to go somewhere where like I could really be myself. I'm like, my mom wanted me to go to Morehouse so bad, but I was like, Mom, I can't be myself around Morehouse. Like I can't. Like I need to be around like creatives.
Plus, it's all guys there.
Yeah, I can't do that. Like, see, I got majority female friends. Is like I'm cool with like a lot of guys. Like to be around them like majority of the time. Like I can't do it. I can't stomach it. Yeah. I just wanted to be around like creatives. Like I wanted to not knocking any of those schools or anything like that, but just I wanted to be around like a diverse amount of people.
Yeah.
Because I guess I was so used to it in high school. I kind of like just wanted to just be somewhere I was comfortable with, just around people that minds just really just went like all over the place, like creatively. So, and I applied to Columbia, and I got in. That was like one of the first schools I got in. I got into Columbia, Robert Morris, Roosevelt. Cause I knew I wanted to stay in Chicago, and then when I got accepted to Columbia, I told my mother, I'm like, yeah, that's where I want to go. And her first thing was, but the tuition, like that was every parent's, just like, oh, Columbia, But then by the time I got my grades back, she was like, I'm so happy that you found somewhere that that you just love and this and that. I was like, I'm glad you see it that way, So I'm very like happy for my time at Columbia. I definitely enjoyed myself.
Yeah, it was too much fun. Okay.
Yeah, it was a little too much fun. I can't tell you how many like times I didn't went to class, wanted to sleep because I partied so much. Like I said, I was a promoter, so it was just so like.
Let me tell you, I was coming into class talking about the parties. I was like, for anybody tonight, the BSU gonna be throwing the blackout. Make sure y'all hit me up for the info. Mm-hmm. But I ended up getting a job off of that stuff though. So you know, because somebody in my class was working at Red Bull, and then Red Bull ended up contacting me. So that's how I got the job, because I was coming into class telling the people where the party was at.
I was looking for the Red Bull people like somebody looking for crack. Like I was like looking for
and
them
I had
girls.
It on me.
Yeah, I was looking for them girls that had the Red Bull in their backpack. I'm like, please let me get one. Please let me get one. I'm a broke college student. Please, please, please.
Have you ever seen like my dorm room ever in college while I was there? Maybe no. At the Infinite Days.
The Infinite Days, yes.
Okay.
When you were in 2 East, no, you was in 2 East, right?
I was, but I started working there during the Infinite Days. I would have like 24 cases piled on top of my kitchen cabinets. Like people would just come in, get drinks. I had the refrigerators, the coolers, all in my dorm room. It was tight.
Yeah, see, I either saw people with Red Bull or I saw people with Verve.
Verve, what the hell is that?
Oh, you don't know nothing about Verve, huh?
I don't know nothing about that.
The people who know about Verve, I don't even think I should be talking about this.
Maybe not.
Just Google Verve and you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to throw no shade at nobody, but
it's already been
I'm so glad I did not like get too serious with that shit, or else I would have been a super broke college student. But anyway. So, question. So, how did you end up? I don't know if you said already, but how did you end up getting into hosting? Because every time, like, I went to an event, it was hosted by Vicki Street, this and that, hosted by Vicki Street. It's like I thought, like, Columbia only had one host for everything, and it was always you.
Wasn't nobody else hosting until I came along, and damn near not after. So when I was in high school, I did this program called True Star Radio. Have you heard of it?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, they was ran through Power 92. And so their building actually was directly next to the 1104 building at Columbia. So I used to take the train, come downtown, and do this radio program. And so I met some people who I'm still friends with today through that program. And one of the dudes who I met through that program, he would just mention my name to other people, you know, to try to help me out. And so I started being a correspondent when I was 17 for Urban Access. And Urban Access, they were on like Channel 19, like Can TV or something like that. And they would just be at all the events, like interviewing celebrities and community people and stuff like that. So, you know, when I was in high school, about like my last semester or so, I just used to take the train, come downtown, meet up with the camera people from Urban Access. I remember this one event, probably like the most exclusive event. I'll give you 2 stories. One event, we were at the Hard Rock Hotel. I think it was like a Lollapalooza after party or something like that. And Eve was there. And we ended up getting into VIP with Eve, but then my friend with his loud self, it was like, oh my God, it's Eve. And they was like, hey, them people don't look exclusive, and kicked us out of the VIP. But we were in there all day covering events and stuff like that. And so at 17, I just was like, wow, I cannot believe like I've been downtown all day interviewing people. And I ended up, like, I just have some crazy stories about it. But through that day, I ended up meeting some other correspondents like Nick Gallo. I don't know if he even remembers this story, but I ended up meeting him. And we ended up in Angel Hayes' hotel room because she was performing at the Hard Rock later on that night. And so I'm like, 17, it's midnight now at this point. As you know, the Metro stops running at midnight.
Yeah, you didn't catch that Metro. You're fucked.
I literally was like, am I gonna live out my dreams right now and like miss this opportunity to be in this celebrity's hotel room and she's giving us wristbands like to be like up on stage, or am I gonna hop on this Metro right now and it's about to come in like 20 minutes? So what did I do? I ended up sleeping outside that night because I missed the train. And so I slept outside on Wacker Drive in this like grassy area right in the middle of the city, and it was like some grass.
You slept outside?
Yeah, I did, because by the time the whole concert and party and hotel scene was over, it was like 4:00 in the morning. I knew the trains would start running again at like 5 something, so I just slept outside for like an hour or so.
You slept outside?
Yeah, I did. It was hot. So I didn't mind, but it was the only thing I could do, because I had stayed down there that long and I didn't want to miss the chance and the opportunity to just like network some more. And nowadays it's probably not the smartest thing to do to be sleeping outside all by yourself at this age, but I did it. I came home at like 7:00 in the morning. I ain't wake nobody up. I just walked home from the train station, and shout out to my parents, because they didn't even really think nothing about it. Like,
I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing.
I know, like, it's just because like I'm a really responsible type of kid, so I knew we probably had to have communicated in between that. But they knew I was going to be all good, even though I'd be doing crazy stuff like that. So got past that moment. I had another moment with them right after that with Urban Access, where they were interviewing some people for a media day at New Era, because New Era was on State Street, and I used to work right across the street from it at the Payless. And so I remember Tink was in the building that night, and one of the correspondents didn't know that much about Tink, but I just so happened to be standing right in the area when the camera guy was like, "Does anybody know about Tink?" I was like, "Yes, I do." And so they gave me the mic. I'm standing up there not looking interview ready at all. I got my headphones on. I got some gum in my mouth, but I'm geeked and amped to be interviewing Tink. So, I asked her questions and things like that. And like, I'm glad I still got that clip to look back on. Although, there might be some things I would change visually. If I had known I would be interviewing Tink that day. But at the end of the day, I'm still proud of myself as an early journalist, because, you just always got to be ready, and know a little bit about everything. And so working with Urban Access over the summer when I was 17 really helped launch my career as a host and as a broadcaster, because they introduced me to a lady named Sarai Valentine, who is the coordinator of this event called Swag the Runway. It's like a fashion show for kids. And she was actually the first person to book me for an event. That was the first event that I ever hosted. And if you ask me, I sucked. But I tried, though. And it just kicked it off from there. And so when I finally got to Columbia, I remember nobody was paying me for events at all. I hosted a little bit of things. Nobody was paying me at all. And then I remember the first event I ever got booked for, I remember you actually filmed it for me. It was the Amps Giving fundraiser that was being held in house.
That Saba was performing that?
Yeah, Saba, K. Jones was there, maybe Sidewalk Cow. And so I remember I was wearing a red sweater. My hair was cut short. It was like caramel. And so I remember they offered me $25 to host that show. And I remember $25. This is back in the
90s. That probably been like a good 200 probably.
Right. And that thing bothered me, because I was like, should I push back? So I pushed back and was like, do y'all have anything else, anything more y'all could give me? It was like, nope, this is the budget. So
$25.
Right, because I was just like,
for how many hours?
Probably like 3 or 4, whatever, however many hours is not my rate today. And so they ended up not increasing it, but I still went ahead and did it, because at that time I still wanted to get my name more out there. And, they don't really get a student orgs that much money anyway. So I just went with it. And I'm glad I did at this point in time, because by the time it was second semester, sophomore year, I never had to ask anybody else, can I host an event? I was booked like 4 times a week to host events while in college. And I was working at Red Bull at the time. And I was hosting all the BSU stuff. And so at that time, I was just like on a roll. Like I was, I remember in one day I interviewed the director for the Need for Speed movie and Aaron Paul at the Langham Hotel. And then later on that night, I had to interview Danny Glover, because he was coming to the school to speak. So I did all of that in one day.
That.